For the United States, the most dangerous battlefield of the Cold War wasn't a continent. It was the human mind. Captured soldiers recited confessions they never wrote. Diplomats repeated propaganda they didn't believe. Newspapers coined a word that chilled Washington to its core. Brainwashing. The stories were everywhere. Soldiers speaking in monotone, eyes glazed, voices flat. They denounced America on radio broadcasts from Pyongyang. They signed confessions written in languages they barely spoke. If a mind could be turned, if a thought could be rewritten, then borders, armies, even governments meant nothing. To American intelligence, this wasn't an anomaly. It was a weapon, and the United States wanted one of its own. A classified memo soon landed on a desk in Langley, stamped with 2 words, "Top Secret." The code name beneath it would become infamous, Project MK Ultra. Hit the notification bell right now so you don't miss any of our unsealed histories. Before MK Ultra, there had been Project Bluebird and Project Artichoke, early attempts to crack memory and reshape belief through hypnosis and drugs. They failed. But failure only sharpened ambition. Interrogators tried truth serums, sleep deprivation, hypnotic suggestion. Subjects mumbled incoherently, but gave nothing of value. The early experiments were crude. Subjects babbled under interrogation, but revealed nothing useful. What they needed wasn't truth serum. It was something that could rewrite the question itself. The CIA came to a disturbing realization. They weren't using the wrong tools. They were asking the wrong questions. If truth couldn't be extracted, perhaps it could be engineered. To do that, they needed something capable of reaching deeper than consciousness, down into the architecture of thought itself. And in 1953, they found it. CIA Director Alan Dulles authorized a new program, bigger, darker, unaccountable. He entrusted it to a soft-spoken chemist with a mind full of unconventional ideas, Sidney Gottlieb. He handed it to a chemist who brewed ideas like potions. To him, LSD was the skeleton key to the locked rooms of the mind. Gottlieb believed the human mind had a code, and chemistry could break it. His chosen key was a strange, little-understood compound, lysergic acid diethylamide, LSD, discovered accidentally by a Swiss chemist in 1938. LSD was colorless, tasteless, and unimaginably potent. 1 microgram could tear open perception for 12 hours. Where others saw chaos, Gottlieb saw a skeleton key, a way to open every locked room in the mind. From a small office in Langley, he built a network of more than 150 sub-projects. Funds were laundered through front organizations with harmless names. The Society for Human Ecology, the Geschichte Fund for Medical Research, universities, hospitals, prisons, all unknowingly fed into MK Ultra's machinery. Officially, the goal was defense. Unofficially, it was the ability to control thought. And in 1953, America began one of the strangest and darkest experiments in its history. If you're shocked by how far they went, hit that like button right now. It tells YouTube to wake more people up. The first subjects were volunteers, students trading their sanity for beer money. A white lab room, fluorescent lights, a drop of clear liquid. Some laughed for hours, some cried for days. For some, it was transcendence, a glimpse beyond the veil. For others, it was terror without exit, hours that stretched into lifetimes. But the reality was more chaotic. LSD didn't open the mind, it ripped it wide. People saw colors that didn't exist, heard their own thoughts spoken aloud, watched reality twist, melt, breathe. Some described transcendence, others begged for the nightmare to stop. The CIA learned one thing early. This was no truth serum. This was a grenade thrown into consciousness. Curiosity soon became coercion. To maintain secrecy, the agency turned to places where consent was negotiable. Hospitals, prisons, CIA-run safe houses. In San Francisco and New York, they launched a sub-project with a name as surreal as the experiments themselves. Operation Midnight Climax. This sub-project involved renting safe houses in urban areas, disguised as brothels, where unknowing American men were brought in by hired escorts and secretly dosed with LSD. The men stumbled out into San Francisco streets, convinced they were dying or insane. No one tracked what happened after the subjects left. No one asked if they ever recovered. From behind the glass, agents watched as the drug took hold, hoping secrets would spill out. Instead came panic, terror, hallucinations that drove some into the streets screaming. Across the border at McGill University, psychiatrist Dr. Ewan Cameron began his own crusade. Erase mental illness by erasing identity. A woman who entered for mild depression couldn't recognize her husband's face. In today's money, that's $500,000 to destroy minds. Patients were put into drug-induced sleep for weeks, then blasted with high-intensity electroshock, then forced to listen to endless recorded messages repeating phrases like, "You are safe now." Gottlieb had a name for this: depaturning. Erase a mind, rewrite it from zero. Comment, depatterned, if this one hit you hard. Other sub-projects tested sensory deprivation, psychological stress, and personality fragmentation. At Stanford, volunteers were locked in silent tanks until they begged to hear anything, even their own screams. In 1953, biochemist Frank Olson began expressing doubts about MKUltra. The CIA's solution was simple: dose him with LSD without his knowledge. His death was the first crack in the facade. The truth, that he'd been dosed without consent, wouldn't surface for 22 years. Days later, Olson fell 13 stories from a New York hotel window. The CIA called it suicide. His family called it murder. For 2 decades, MKUltra hid behind bureaucracy, university grants, hospital invoices, travel reimbursements. Behind each entry was a person who had trusted someone in a white coat. What they really found were the limits of their own morality. A project too secret to stop, too valuable to question. Then came 1973. Gottlieb gathered decades of files, reports, photographs, dosage charts, and fed them into incinerators. Boxes of photographs, faces of test subjects, fed into incinerators. What he was really doing was destroying evidence of crimes that had no statute of limitations. The final order from CIA Director James Schlesinger gave Gottlieb the perfect cover: eliminate any records that might embarrass the agency. What he burned were not just papers, they were people. But one forgotten box of financial records survived the purge: 20,000 pages of receipts and grant notes. In 1974, the New York Times broke the story. In 1975, the Church Committee forced the CIA on camera. For the first time, the CIA admitted, on camera, to drugging, hypnotizing, and manipulating American citizens. Former agents described LSD tests, secret detentions, and psychological torture. One said the team had lost track of the line between research and violation. Survivors finally spoke. They called it therapy, but I left not knowing my own name. Their courage forced new hearings in 1977, revealing the surviving MKUltra budget files. The receipts told the story Gottlieb wanted erased. If you want the full declassified files, they're linked in the description. Download them before they vanish again. In 1988 and 1994, a handful of Canadian families got checks. Most got silence. They gave me a check and called it justice. but I still don't remember my daughter's childhood. For most victims, there was no settlement. Just decades of wondering why their minds had broken. MK Ultra's ghost lives in every consent form you sign today. But the game never stopped. It just switched from chemicals to code. Where governments once used drugs, today they use data. Algorithms shape desire. Headlines manipulate emotion. Information nudges behavior more subtly and more effectively than LSD ever could. Different tools, same ambition. Next week, we expose the CIA coup in Chile, 1973. What historical subject should we unseal next? Tell us in the comments. Sidney Gottlieb retired to rural Virginia, raising goats and meditating. He never saw a courtroom. He died in 1999, unpunished. MK Ultra isn't a myth. It isn't speculation. It is documented fact, proof of what happens when fear outpaces conscience. The experiment ended, but the questions it raised never did. How much control would we trade for the promise of safety? And who gets to decide where that line is? This is Unsealed. Proof, not paranoia. Drop your thoughts below. What shocked you the most? See you in the next one.